We've all been there, stuck in a middle seat on an 18-hour flight fighting tooth and nail for more space on the armrests. To be truthful, flying commercial is just a pain. I mean, sure, it's inexpensive and it gets you from point A to point B, but do you really enjoy the journey while listening to that guy next to you snore all the way to your destination? But this is not quite the same experience that everyone has. For some, flying is a truly luxurious experience. You can fly high above the clouds in plush leather seats that you don't have to fight for. You can do whatever you want, nap, make conference calls, or go to the bathroom whenever you want. You can even have all the peanuts that you want without anyone telling you no. That is, if you own a private jet. A private jet is one of the ultimate symbols of wealth and status, and there are definitely plenty of perks to owning one. But there are some drawbacks, some very, very large financial drawbacks. Today we're going to look at just how much it truly costs to own a private jet. Let's get started. So what exactly do you have to do to maintain a private jet after you buy it? After all, private jets aren't just a one and done situation. Far from it, actually. You pay for absolutely everything that goes with it. Every takeoff and landing, every bag of peanuts, and every bottle of wine, that's on you. Every single time your plane makes a landing, you can expect to pay a landing fee of $100 to $500. Every time you have a layover, you have to pay a ramp fee. There are also hangar fees that cover the cost of storing your plane in a covered hangar. After all, if you've dropped $100 million on a private jet, odds are you aren't going to want it sitting outside weathering the elements. On average, hangar fees are going to cost you $81,000 per year. And if you want your plane stored and ready to go at a popular airport such as LAX, they're going to charge you about $12,000 a month just to store it. That adds up to a massive $144,000 per year. On top of this, flying is risky business, so it'll be a good idea to get that $100 million joyride insured. And not just one kind of insurance either. You'll need insurance to cover damage to the plane and all of its systems, which will run you around $34,000 a year. And if you're the owner of the plane, you'll also need single liability insurance, which will add on another $12,000 per year. Now that you've got insurance out of the way, you've still got to cover the cost of fuel if you're going to get to any of those exotic locations you're planning to travel to. The cost of fuel can vary from plane to plane, but it can run you as much as $53,000 for a single fill. Already, our expenses are climbing to a pretty high altitude, and we are far from done. Odds are you're probably going to need a crew for your plane, unless you're a pilot. It's going to cost you a pretty penny to keep them around too. In fact, you can expect to shell out $215,000 a year for a pilot, co-pilot, and 2 flight attendants. That's not just salaries either. You have to pay overnight fees for your crew, which include lodging, transportation, and food. And if you're planning on staying at your destination for a lengthy amount of time, you can send your crew back home on another flight, but that's going to cost you a repositioning fee. Clearly, there are plenty of necessary fees that go along with owning your own private jet, but there are even some outlying expenses that will come about when operating such complex machinery. For example, if you live in a cold climate and want to escape to a warmer one, then you'll have to pay a de-icing fee before leaving the tarmac. And you better hope you don't crack the windshield, because that'll cost you a total of $60,000 to repair. Flat tire, that'll be another $8,000 to replace. So just hope and pray that you make it from point A to point B with no repairs needed. Now let's get into the real reason you're here and look at the differences in prices of each jet. The most popular private jet is the Cessna Citation XLS. This jet fits the saying that dynamite comes in small packages. This jet is capable of seating 8 people, not including the 4 crew members. The Cessna is a bit of an older model, but it's often improved by installing new tech and fancy amenities. An updated Cessna will cost you around $14 million, while the older standard model will cost you only $4 million. If you fly this jet for just 200 hours a year, it will cost you over $800,000 just to maintain the aircraft. This comes out to about $10.15 a mile. But if the Cessna doesn't float your boat, or should I say fly your plane, then maybe you should go for something a little fancier, like the Gulfstream G650. This jet is complete with a lounge area consisting of a flat screen TV, sofa, and my personal favorite, a wine cooler. To operate the Gulfstream G650, it'll cost you around $1.6 million a year to fly 200 hours. It costs almost $500,000 just to fuel this jet per year. But if you have the $65.5 million to buy this plane, then these costs may not bother you too much. If owning your own plane doesn't tickle your fancy, you may consider chartering a plane instead, though it's pretty pricey in the long run. If you decide to charter a plane, a small one will cost you around $2,000 to $3,000 an hour. To put this into perspective, let's take the Cessna Citation for example. This is a mid-sized plane and it will cost you $9,500 per hour. A large plane on the other hand, like the Gulfstream G650, will cost you a whopping $13,000 an hour to fly. If you're frequently traveling long distances, you're definitely going to be racking up some expenses. So what do you think about the cost of owning a private jet? Did these costs surprise you? Do you think it would be more beneficial to charter your own plane? Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out some of the other videos on our channel. As always, this has been Luxury Lab, and we will catch you in the next one.